Okay, I just wanted to give my opinion and reaction to the presidential debate between President Biden and former President Trump, and also do a reaction to an interview that Anderson Cooper had with Kamala Harris. I just wanted to share my thoughts and my views on that. And hopefully, I'll let y'all check out the video first, and then I'll come back with my reactions.
The first debate of the 2024 presidential campaign is now history. The fallout from it is just getting started. Joining us now is Vice President Kamala Harris. Madam Vice President, thanks for being with us. CNN's John King has described a panic inside the Democratic Party right now because of President Biden's performance in tonight's debate. He's been hearing from Democratic lawmakers and others around the country. Some within your own party are wondering if President Biden should even step aside. What do you say to that?
Listen, first of all, what we saw tonight is the president making a very clear contrast with Donald Trump on all of the issues that matter to the American people. Yes, there was a slow start, but it was a strong finish. And what became very clear through the course of the night is that Joe Biden is fighting on behalf of the American people, on substance, on policy, on performance. Joe Biden is extraordinarily strong.
And but I'm sorry, on substance and policy and performance tonight, I mean, the president's performance tonight clearly was disappointing for his supporters. CNN is reporting Democratic lawmakers watching the debate were worried about the president's performance. One said it was a disaster. Another called it a train wreck. Those are Democrats especially worried that Biden did not punch back on Trump's lies.
Listen, people can debate on style points, but ultimately this election and who is the president of the United States has to be about substance. And the contrast is clear. Look at what happened during the course of the debate. Donald Trump lied over and over and over again, as he is wont to do. He would not disavow what happened on January 6th. He would not give a clear answer on whether he would stand by the election results this November. He went back and forth about where he stands on one of the most critical issues of freedom in America, which is the right of a woman to make decisions about their own body. He has been completely ambiguous and all over the place about where he stands on that issue, despite the fact that he hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade, and that's exactly what they did. And just 3 years ago, we commemorated the 2-year anniversary of Dobbs, wherein women across our country have been denied emergency health care, have suffered miscarriages to the point that
but the president of the United States was not able to make that case to Donald Trump on the stage tonight. I mean, you debated against then Vice President Vice President Biden 4 years ago, and he was a very different person on the stage 4 years ago when you debated him. You must, I mean, that's certainly true, is it not?
Anderson, the point has to be performance in terms of what a president does. A president who incites an insurrection against the Capitol. No, but I got the point that you're making about a 1.5-hour debate tonight. I'm talking about 3.5 years of performance in work that has been historic.
But whether it be infrastructure, the man who we saw on the stage tonight, is that the person you see in meetings every day?
The person that you saw on the debate stage that has, for the last 3.5 years, up until today, performed in a way that has been about, whether it be in the Oval Office, negotiating bipartisan deals so that we have an infrastructure, a real infrastructure plan where we're putting trillions of dollars on the streets of America to upgrade our infrastructure. Whether it be the person I see in the Oval Office who is meeting with heads of the military and the intelligence community and in the Situation Room, ensuring the safety of America. The person I see in Joe Biden on the world stage, convening world leaders who often ask for his advice, most recently just during the G7 conference. So I'm not going to spend all night with you talking about the last 90 minutes when I've been watching the last 3.5 years of performance.
But this was a debate that your campaign wanted. You pushed for this debate at this moment. Obviously, I mean, you can't honestly say, I mean, can you say that you are not concerned at all having watched the president's performance tonight?
It was a slow start. That's obvious to everyone. I'm not going to debate that point. I'm talking about the choice in November. I'm talking about one of the most important elections in our collective lifetime. And do we want to look at what November will bring and go on a course for America that is about a destruction of democracy, electing a man who has said he'll be a dictator on day one? Or do we want to continue on a course that's about strengthening America's economy, building and creating 15 million American jobs, over 800,000 manufacturing jobs? I got that this is the afterplay for the debate, this conversation that I'm in, and I understand why everyone wants to talk about it, but I think it's also important to recognize that the choice in November between these two people that were on the debate stage involves extraordinary stakes. And there's one person on that stage who has the endorsement of their vice president, and that's Joe Biden. Mike Pence is nowhere to be found in supporting Donald Trump, and that's why he has to look for, someone else to run with him who, as we know, will embolden and rubber stamp whatever he wants, because they're going to have to make a choice to not be Mike Pence and to put Donald Trump over their country.
Neither person on that stage tonight made the argument as coherently as you just did. You mentioned reproductive rights. I'd like to just play that exchange that we saw tonight.
Under Roe v. Wade, you have late-term abortion. You can do whatever you want, depending on the state. You can do whatever you want. We don't think that's a good thing. We think it's a radical thing. We think the Democrats are the radicals, not the Republicans.
For 51 years, that was the law. 51 years, constitutional scholarship said it was the right way to go. 51 years, and it was taken away because this guy put very conservative members on the Supreme Court. He takes credit for taking it away. What's he going to do? What's he going to do, in fact, if the MAGA Republicans, he gets elected, and the MAGA Republicans control the Congress, and they pass a universal ban on abortion, period, across the board at 6 weeks or 7 or 8 or 10 weeks, something very, very conservative. Is he going to sign that bill? I'll veto it. He'll sign it.
To someone who watched this debate tonight and has serious concerns about the President of the United States, what do you say to them about what they just saw?
They saw they witnessed the fact that if Donald Trump were elected to be President of the United States this November, he will sign a national abortion ban. Take him at his word. He said he would when he was president before. He said if it came to his desk, he'd sign it. There's no reason to believe anything would change. A national abortion ban means that folks in New York, California, Maryland, all these other states that have protected the right of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do will be at risk. That's what you should take away from that discussion.
And just finally,
Joe Biden was very clear. He will sign back into law the protections of Roe v. Wade.
The person we saw tonight,
issues.
the president we saw tonight on that stage, is that how he is every day?
The Joe Biden that I work with every day is someone who, as I have said, has performed in a way that has been about bringing people into the Oval Office, Republicans and Democrats, to compromise in a way that is extraordinary these days because it just doesn't happen, but Joe Biden can make it happen. The Joe Biden I see is someone who goes to our allies around the world and strengthens NATO to the point that there are 2 new members of NATO who just about 4 years ago, people said, is NATO even have a reason for existing? The Joe Biden I know is someone who has delivered 800,000 new manufacturing jobs and bringing manufacturing back to the United States, not shipping jobs out like Donald Trump did. So that's the Joe Biden I know.
Vice President Kamala Harris, I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
Now, looking at that video, after looking at that video and the debate that had happened. Now, my thoughts on the debate, I'm not going to even show the debate because I know everybody's seen it. But on the debate, I think Mr. Trump, former President Donald Trump, I think he did really good. I think he held his composure as much as he could. Sometimes they were a little bickering between them, but he held his composure really well. I would have liked more talk about his ideas on what he wanted to do with the immigration issue and with the inflation and with the crime and with the threat of the war that's happening. You know, I didn't hear none of that really. It was basically them arguing back and forth. And that's how debates happen and stuff like that, I guess. You know, I guess that's how people do it, whatever. But I was kind of wanting more of that. But you kind of thought that they would be arguing and going back and forth a lot. You know, trying to defend each other, trying to defend one another, trying to defend whatever their policies are or whatever their plans are or whatever's going on. But I do think President Trump did do very well. I was thinking that if when Biden came out, I mean, I was thinking that President Trump would win it. Would be more together. When Biden came out, I kind of had thoughts of, you know, because a lot of times I just think that he might not be really as bad as what he is portraying when he's out on the road and stuff is happening around him. Because I think some of that is just like he's just I never really thought it was that real. And when he had came out, I didn't think of it would be as bad as it was. I just wouldn't think anyone would allow their candidate and our president to walk out in that type of a condition. And they knew about it. They knew that they had to know he was in that type of a condition. To just let him go out there like that with no support or anything. And that's what I had noticed as him being president. It didn't seem like he had a lot of support or something. I don't know. I really don't understand it. But he went out there. And to see someone going through something like that, and it's like, you know, where's his people? What's going on? And so, but I didn't think it would be as bad as it was, but it was pretty bad. And also, it was also that he couldn't talk about anything that was substantial. He didn't have any proof of having any type of substantial policies or anything that he's really done that's been successful or anything that's benefited the whole country, except for the only thing he talked about was abortion, an infrastructure deal. And I believe the infrastructure deal had something to do with Donald Trump, because I believe Donald Trump tried to start it or something like that, but it was denied. And but Biden got it through. But which I really do think the infrastructure was a very, very important issue. And I also do believe he could have spoke about the college fund thing. I think that was a good idea. You know, he could have expounded on that, him trying to do something for the youth. He didn't. And he did one more other thing. I really don't understand why they talk about abortion so much. It's kind of, you know, and they put that as something that's really wonderful that they did. And they put that as something wonderful that they did. And I don't think that it was that wonderful for them to do something like that. I mean, because I mean, I do believe that maybe it should be given up to the states too, and to have for people to decide to whether or not, you know, they want to have that type of procedure and stuff like that. But I don't understand this. That's like the only thing that they're trying to go on is the fact that they're giving us the option of killing our children. You know, that's kind of bothersome to me. It's kind of creepy or something. It is. And that was the only thing that he was going on. He was saying that would be successful. So I don't understand that. And then as the debate went on, it's like he didn't show any accomplishments that he really did. You know, he talked about bringing jobs back, and he said that Donald Trump didn't do that. That's a lie. I remember that because Donald Trump was getting jobs that under the previous president had lost. And while Donald Trump was only president-elect, he went and he spoke to other places and had them bring jobs back. That's the one thing that started me listening to Donald Trump, was the fact that the other president, the president before him, claimed that, you know, there's no way for him to get auto jobs back and all of that. And a week later, Donald Trump went to go talk to these people and got them to bring the jobs back. And that I don't believe that Biden was telling the truth about that. And with a lot of the automakers and I believe tech things, that's something that Donald Trump was doing to get those companies back into the U.S. I remember that because that is what caused me to start following Donald Trump, from me being a Democrat to start following Donald Trump and to get involved with the Republican Party. I remember that. That was the specific thing. Even with the infrastructure bill, I do believe that has something to do with Donald Trump, but I'm not sure though. But if Biden went for the infrastructure bill, then that was a good plan. I know that because I was very interested in that, knowing about, you know, doing infrastructure projects and getting America up to date like other countries, because our infrastructure is so outdated. Other countries have everything, their roads, everything perfect. They even have their own medical systems where they medical services and stuff like that they can give for free to their citizens, and we don't have that here. And like I said, he could have expounded on the student loan thing, because I think that was a good idea, and that's something that the Republicans don't think of as a good idea. That was a very good idea for the youth, and for people who are middle class. I mean, it's a smart idea. And I never heard of Republicans doing that, and it is a good thing to let young people know that they'll be secure when they try to have a job or anything, you know, obtain a job after going to school, and they're paying their taxes. But you know, they will have to pay student loans and all of this other stuff. So I think it is a good idea. But if it was regulated, if it was made sure that this those type of things are paid off legitly, you know, and to people who will work in the country and who are paying taxes and stuff like that, you know, you just got to regulate it. But as for that debate, like I said, I think Donald Trump came out on top on it. I didn't expect for Biden to come out the way that he did, as bad as he was, and I didn't expect. It seems like his wife kind of coddled him, or whatever it was, how she spoke to him. It was just weird to me. I think he should pull aside if he cannot go through with the job, And I do believe they did that on purpose to him. And to know that people would do something like that just so that they can prove a point or hurt someone or put someone in a situation like that just so that they can get their way with them, to manipulate them, that tells you a lot about that party, and that tells you a lot about the people that are controlling that party. It screams at you, because if they're willing to do that to him, what are they going to do towards us? What are they going to do towards any of us? So I think that told a lot about them and their character and what they believe in and how they believe, and that's not good. And that's what I think about the debate. I think that they were just putting him out there like that for no reason, in my opinion. Maybe more to hurt him. I don't know. I don't think that they should have done that. That's wrong. You don't do that to anyone. And after they do this, maybe they, I really don't know. I can't judge them, but I wouldn't do that to someone. I wouldn't put someone out there like that. That's just not, to me, that's just not right. But I think that they did it so that they can have the excuse to say, hey, you got to go. You can't do this anymore. I always thought Joe Biden was a placemat for another candidate, that he got sent to put in there to be a placemat because they didn't want Trump in there at all, because Trump was cutting down on their money, so he had to be a placemat, and for another candidate that they wanted to send in. Maybe they got mad at the candidate, I don't know. Maybe they have issues with that candidate, I don't know. But maybe he was there to stand in for those 4 years and then let that other person come in and go, and it begs to differ, because if there was another candidate and this is why that he's been there so long, and maybe they had some sort of a disagreement, and then Biden's like, well, forget it, I'll stay right here. I'll do what I got to go do here. It begs to differ, and then to know that nobody's really saying Kamala will be in charge or anything like that, it makes you wonder, especially after the interview she just did with Anderson Cooper, who really was in Camp David for 2-3 weeks doing training, because I've never seen her talk I've never seen her talk. She's always doing the word salad, the stuttering or the whatever, and the nervousness and all these different things. But with Anderson Cooper, she was just right there. So who really got that training in Camp David? And then the fact that she's able to be the one to sign the paper for Joe to move aside. I mean, was that a plan between her and Joe? I don't know. I really don't know. But I believe there was supposed to be another candidate there, and they're having some sort of issues with each other. I don't know. But whomever it is, if that party is acting the way that they are now, especially how they're treating the candidate that they have now, what are they going to do with us? If they're that cruel to do that to each other, what are they going to do with us? And that's what I think. That's how I think. If Kamala decides to run, I mean, I don't know. I don't know who it is. But that also goes into when she was just talking about Donald Trump's, whoever Donald Trump's VP will be. They are so afraid of whoever his VP will be. And I think that Mr. Trump needs to figure out in his mind, seriously, who he's going to choose, and choose it wisely. they are definitely afraid of Donald's. It's like they're horrified of him. I don't know why, and it could be the fact that Donaldson is he has a certain air about himself, the same type of air that Donald Trump has, you know, of very masculine. They it seems like they hate masculine men. He looks physically very he looks intimidating, and he looks like a man that stands up for himself and stands up for his family and his beliefs, and he's willing to stand up and fight for them. And that's the same thing that Donald Trump does. Mr. Trump, a lot of times this has come up that because this is how they got Donald Trump the first time anyway, and that's with him going to and that's him going through what he went through when he went against the guy that was bowing before the flag. And that guy, you know, he had his own issues. He had his own reasonings for doing it. But it was an important thing that he was doing because he was talking about police brutality. And he was bowing to the flag. And Donald Trump went all out. He listened to his base. And his base was like, oh, forget him. And da-da-da-da-da-da. And Donald Trump did that. He did a hypocritical move because he started to restrict this man's free speech and telling him there's no such thing as police brutality. There's no such thing as the government hurting people and all of this and that and this. And all of his base was right there with him. The only thing that they could understand was that a lot of the people that were telling this man, because he was black, that he needed to shut up and sit down and don't say anything. You don't have a right to say anything. Were the same people talking about how the government is bad and how it's doing them. And then the very same thing that Donald Trump was at that time trying to stop this man from doing was the very same thing that happened to him. Started happening to him and is still happening to him. And I'm not saying that to try to criticize Mr. Trump. I'm not doing that. But I'm trying to show him that this is how they defeated him. They told the whole world how hypocritical that is. And it is, in a sense. You know, they're telling other world leaders, you see, this man is trying to say that he's all about republic and democracy and all of this other things, the Constitution and all of these other things, and he's sitting there restricting a man from standing up for his rights, his freedom of speech, and his all of this. And this is how they went about and convinced other world leaders to turn against him, and convince the people who were there in the military, because they fought for that very right. And you think that people are seeing their friends die and believing in the Constitution, and then this man comes along, I believe in the Constitution, but oh, not for this person. You know, this person's wrong, and he shouldn't have done that. But as soon as you did that, and as soon as a lot of white America went along with it, of saying, no, they don't have a right to, the very thing that they did caused this type of thing to develop, as to where the people who were not here, migrants, went ahead and they built their own system and everything. And other countries were down with it because you're being hypocritical. And you can't do that. You have to figure out a way to fix that. And I believe the way to fix that is that because they're going to go after you again about it anyway. And any time you got to think about it. Like I said, I had given those choices of Donalds and Scott and Carson because as being more leaders in the Conservative Party, because you have a lot of young people that are coming in the Republican Party or the Conservative Party because of Trump, and you have a lot of Hispanic, African Americans, people who are all types of backgrounds, cultures, everything, that are coming into the Republican Party, that are new to the Republican Party and or conservative party, because they're following Trump. They're forever Trumpers, basically. But in the conservative party, you have a lot of white America that does not like, especially, they don't like the freedoms that African Americans have. They think that we're spoiled or whatever, and they'll go against that, and it's not fair. It's not right, and it does cause a lot of problems. You will see that when you go ahead with them, and he did. It's like in the last time he got Mike Pence, because what I'm heading to is his vice president. And that's why they're teasing you, because they're teasing you about Mike Pence, and they're trying to signal to you you're going to pick another Mike Pence because of your base. Your base wants you to pick someone white, and you really can't. I know I said a little while ago, maybe about a couple of months ago, I said that Trump doesn't need the black vote, which is true. You can get in without the black vote, but you're gonna need black people, and I think you're gonna need them because of all the people that are coming in under you, with all the and coming into the conservative party with all the people that are coming in the conservative party. You're gonna need them, and Donald's, to me, he seems like a perfect candidate, because if you go ahead and pick another Mike Pence, see, Mike Pence didn't need you. He had the RINOs, and the RINOs, he'll always be accepted into that because of his skin color. You know what I'm saying? Tell the truth. I'm just telling the truth. And a lot of times black people are not going to get accepted into any type of politics until they can get their own politics, their own power. But you would need it right now, because in order for you to get in, a lot of times people look at when you deal with black people and help them to move forward and succeed, they equate that to there being some real justice, hope for justice here, and you need it, because like how she was teasing you, she was goading you. She was saying, yeah, he's just gonna pick another Mike Pence, and once he pick another Mike Pence, he's going to go down, and then you'll be left with the same situation, like the situation with I believe his name is Ron Johnson or something like that. No, I warned that with him becoming Speaker of the House, even though that he was good friend of yours, when people get into certain levels of power and they don't need the person that helped them to get there, it's sort of like in business. If they don't really need you, they have other options of doing stuff. They will do stuff. They will do other stuff. And a lot of people thought, Johnson would be good, and I do think he's a good guy, whatever it is. But he can be easily persuaded because he doesn't have the same need as Donald or other black leaders that are in the conservative party, because those guys need to be able to do something for their community. And a lot of people now are just, they're side-eyeing Johnson. He's a RINO. He can be easily persuaded by, RINOs and stuff like that, because he really doesn't need Trump to help him with his career. I think for the African American community, they really do need to have the look of a man who, who looks like a man, who acts, more manly, more as showing as a leader. They really do need that now, and this would be a proven point for them. And plus, they need the teaching and the way in, and then also the fact Donald Trump would need them, because a lot of people coming under you are African American and youth. Because whenever, like I said, whenever people see the fact of an African American standing up in those type of positions or in those type of things, they believe that there is hope. There's hope for justice. There's hope for fairness. And and it also helps how you look to other countries, because that they'll start to trust you more and say, okay, they're helping the people that are down the most in their country. And I do think that Donald and Carson and Scott, I think that they'll be very loyal to you. It seems like you have a big problem with getting people that loyal. Like I said, a lot of RINOs, or a lot of the candidates that you are looking at that your base would want, that white America would want, a lot of them are white America would want, are people that are, half of those people, they didn't like you. They seemed like they were RINOs or something, that they really did not like Donald Trump. They didn't like him. They talked about him and everything, and I don't understand why they would want him to choose people that don't even like him, except for, the obvious. But I think that if you do choose those people that I said, Donald and Carson and Scott, I think that they will get to working on that part of the conservative party, and the part that are ever Trumpers, people that are ever Trumpers. They're only joining the conservative party because you're a part of this conservative party. And so those people that are joining are not really Republicans, just like the RINOs are not really Republican. They have other reasons for joining, and it's the same thing. People are joining because of Donald Trump. So, and all those people are youth and a lot of marginalized groups are joining because they're believing in that system, and they want part of that system. And a lot of countries are seeing that. A lot of countries like Putin and Russia and China and all of that, because the Democrats went all around the world telling everyone how much of a hypocrite you are. And this is one way to defeat that. And plus the fact that you're going to have two strong men that are at the helm, that are ready to defend and protect what they have to do for their country, to protect their country. Lately, we haven't had that. All we have are weak people. Even when you stood up, a lot of women voted for you because first thing they said, Donald Trump looks so strong. He doesn't let anyone bully him. We're not afraid when he's standing in charge. And people like that. And I'm telling you, that's the exact same thing that they see in Donald's. Donald's also has the ability to talk across the board. Because when he went and he had that interview with Bowman, they both met out on the corner. Bowman showed him respect. And I think that's why he lost the election, and he got looked down on by the Democrats, because he spoke to Donald's, because they really, really hate him. And if someone really, 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 really hates another person, and that person happens to be basically your enemy, there's something about that person. And it must be that way, because when Bowman was speaking to him, Donald had the charisma to talk to another brother, and they spoke to each other peacefully. They talk to each other, everything. And that's something that I think that's one of the things that they don't like about him. maybe he's able to go across the board. You know, if people see someone that's like that, that has that type of charm and type of charisma, if you will. I can't think of the word. I'm trying to think of something to say. But if someone sees that, if people see that, and that aura about them, and they know that this person can go across the board and speak to another male, and they don't, for some reason, they just don't like men that are old school and or either heterosexual or that gives that aura of being heterosexual, because I don't know who he is, but they give that aura of being heterosexual and strong and understanding and being able to lead. They don't like that. I don't understand why. They like people who are more submissive and stuff like that. But like how I said, those are the choices that I really do believe that Donald Trump should take heed to. That was my broom back there. To take heed to. And I think those are the choices he should take heed to, because they're going to come with something that's going to knock you really off, because that's what they keep alluding to. They keep saying that you're going to pick another Mike Pence, and you already picked two Mike Pence so far. You picked Mike Pence, and you've picked Ron Johnson. I'm not saying Ron Johnson is stabbing you in the back, but he's not strong. You know, he's up there when you need someone to be strong for you. He's up there bowing down. He doesn't have the same backbone. And, you know, you really gotta get that together, because you have to make a big decision, and I think that is your decision. You need to have people who need you and that you could rely on, that's going to be strong when you need someone strong. Because when you walk in and when you have the person that's standing in the back of you, and people start coming after you, they're going to come after basically that person that's in back of you first. And if that person can't fight, then you might as well hang it up, bro. You know, you're going to be out there by yourself. And I see that a lot. That's happening towards you. That's what she meant by Mike Pence. And I think that's something you really need to think about. But I do think Donald's would be, if he can pass your test or whatever, he should be. If not, Tim Scott. Definitely Ben Carson. But right now, I don't think for Ben Carson now, because everybody's reeling, and they are looking towards having people that look strong and that, you know, that are strong, but they're looking for people who look strong, young, because that's a big thing. Have someone that's younger, and they're looking for people that they can look and say, oh, there must be justice. You know, this guy is not what they're saying. You know, he isn't racist or whatever. You know, they need to look at something first to see how it looks first, and then also hopefully Donald's could back it up. Scott can back it up, but I think they need someone who looks more intimidating, because Scott doesn't look intimidating. He's tough, but he doesn't look it. You know, he doesn't look it, but he is tough. You know, when he stood up against what DeSantis has said in Florida about slavery and stuff like that, he stood up against him, and you saw how the people turned against Scott, but he still held his ground on it. You know, but they felt that they could disrespect him because he doesn't look tough. Donald's he looks tougher, and that's what we need right now. For right now, at this time, at this moment, that's why. But those other two, Scott and Carson, definitely. But for right now, as I pick Donald's, I hope you do too. I hope you see what I'm seeing. And if you can't go by your base, because they're going to have you pick another RINO. They're going to have you pick another Mike Pence. And that's my thoughts.